Two of my colleagues at San Francisco State are giving a presentation about what's at stake in the Israel-Hamas war, a regional perspective. If you've been hearing Iran backed, Iran backed, Iran backed, you should note that Iran is a player in this, but there's also another agenda towards Iran, and so we want to complicate the narrative a little bit. So it's online, so you can register. I'm going to leave it right here in case you want to take a picture and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Persis. Okay, thank you everyone for coming this afternoon to the Center for Middle Eastern Studies. My name is Ḥāfeẓ-e. I teach here at Milk Department, UC Berkeley, and it's my honor to introduce to you Gach.
Thank you.
And we all look forward to engaging, fascinating event today. And we have a book, very exciting book, and an exciting, even more exciting speaker. And I'll start by a very short introduction of him. Gach is adjunct professor at University of San Francisco, the Department of Theology and Religious Studies. He's a popular guest lecturer, keynote speaker, the panelist, and his work has been honored with an American Book Award from the Before Columbus Foundation, a Lannan Grant for Translation, and 2 grants from the Korean Literature Translation Institute. His translations have appeared in El-Mutanabi Street Stars Here, Asymptote, Book of Luminous Things, Evergreen Review, Language for a New Century, The Nation, The New Yorker, Poems for the Millennium, Technicians of the Sacred, 2 Lines, World Literature Today, and Ziziva. I know a lot of names, right? But I do invite you to go to his website and see even more of these there. It's garygach.com. With this brief intro, I'm opening the floor and inviting him to come over and talk to us about his new book project, which has just come out last year, 2023. And we'll follow up with Q&A, more discussions. Yeah, it is. Wonderful. Thank you, Gary, for coming here today. Please join me to welcome him.
Yay!
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you for applauding even before I spoke. And thank you, Wally, the Center for Middle Eastern Studies, CMES, for hosting me today. And how do I go to the... Here it is, I found it. This one. This one. So there's a first, I think, I don't know. For this talk, I'm making not the notes, but really, it's not the written text is on a Google Doc. So rather than handing out the paper that I'm going to be giving, it's kind of in transit in a way that if you want to make notes on it tonight, you can. This is where you go, and I'll post this on my author page when I post the video that Joseph Lamb of the Borneo Project is making as we speak. So if you afterwards want to ask questions, make comments, criticism, or additions, deletions, corrections, revisions, if you've never used Google Doc, it's a great opportunity to make it a co-learning community. Inshallah. So without further ado, here's what I've got. Let me see, can I don't know how to use this. It's kind of distracting me now, so I'll go to sleep, I'll call you later. The talk I'm going to offer is a question. Have you met Hafez? Maybe you have. So in our introductions and afterwards, shoehorning Hafez into an hour may be as unlikely as finding a snowflake in July. but with the grace of the most compassionate and the most merciful, let's give it a try. A quick glance can locate him as on a literary par with Akhmatova, Basho, Blake, Cervantes, Dante, Dufu, Emily Dickinson, Goethe, Homer, Sappho, Shakespeare. Just as generations restage Shakespeare in English, foreign classics of world literature need to be retranslated for a new era. Emily Wilson's recent lean, vivid Iliad is a good example. Moreover, Hafez is the pinnacle of Persian lyric poetry. He also represents an acme of Persian philosophy, as poets were ancient to Iran what philosophers were to Athens. In a nutshell, familiarity with Hafez might benefit many a research focus. I'll begin phenomenologically with the work itself. Then I'll background what we know of his life. Next, I'll fuse both as a point of departure to touch upon such key Hafizian themes as translation plus divination, and Q&A, the most important part of all. If you're not familiar with ghazal, it's a poetic form where, first the word, it means to sweet talk. It means to flirt. It also means the wail of a wounded deer, which gets me off into a whole thing about his poem about the musk deer, you know, a deer who is searching for the smell of musk that it itself produces. It's a lyric poem of 5 to 15 couplets. The couplets are called bait, B-A-Y-T, which also means house, and they're each self-contained, and yet they have association from one to the next. And Hafez's had the greatest leaps. I'll read one in a moment. The rhyme scheme is AA, BA, CA, DA, etc. And it's usually 5 to 15 baits. The meter is usually the same for the line. And I've chosen a sample by Elizabeth T. Gray Jr. and Iraj Anvar from a book of theirs that I think is one of the best. They're doing a 30th anniversary edition soon. They're all entitled. For the recluse, what need is there of spectacle? In the friend's alleyway, what need is there of scenery? Oh, beloved, by the need you have for God, at least for a moment, ask what I need. King of beauty, by God, I burn. At least ask, what does the beggar need? We are the lords of need, but have no tongue to ask. In the presence of the generous one, what need is there for pleading? If you intend to take our soul, there is no need for explanation. Since all we have is yours, what need is there to plunder? The world-revealing cup is my heart's, I'm sorry, the world-revealing cup is my love's luminous heart, where there is no need to show your need. I am no longer in debt to the diver, since the pearl has come to hand. Who needs the sea? Oh, lovesick beggar, when your love's life-giving lip knows what you need, what need is there to ask? Imposter, go, for I have no business with you. The friends are here. What need is there for foes? Finish this, Hafez, to let your talent show. With the imposter, who needs to argue and debate? So that's a typical lyric by Hafez, meant to be sung. You'll notice it unfolds with clear lines of melody and is also harmonically polyphonic. If a poem is imagery, intellection, and musicality, the latter, which is usually what gets lost, but is primary, then here the intellectual implication is thinking in chords, non-linearly, non-discursively. Such poetics invite the reader's recognition, acceptance, and understanding of a realm of human experience for which discursive human speech is inadequate. In the ratio of sign, signifier, and signifying, there are sutures of mismatches and overtones. Feeling-wise, such a non-discursive quality could be called childlike, emphasizing intuition and radical simplicity. This is an example of poetry as vehicle for devotion and mysticism even. A literary tradition which arguably shriveled in the West since the Industrial Revolution and has been making a return only relatively recently. Speaking phenomenologically in the first person, I wish to preface this afternoon's further encounter with Hafez's text with an anecdote. Erfan Mojib and I had translated the Book of Absence from Persian, and I was pounding the pavement of Publishers Row, knocking on doors, when one said, "No, but could you bring us a manuscript of Hafez?" Knowing his untranslatability, I mentioned it to Erfan anyways, who agreed. A few days later, he emailed me pages which changed my mind. Our point of departure became adaptations made by filmmaker, film master Abbas Kiarostami, as with his books of Rumi, Sadi, and Farooq Farrokhzad. His book of Hafez views a single line in close-up and edits that line into several lines, making a poem unto itself. But Kiarostami's book, £2, with one per page, is 70-some pages. And our publishers wouldn't allow that. He arranges the vignettes in 20-some categories. We use 5, which we call gardens. Gardens of the world, gardens of wine, gardens of love, garden of wisdom, garden of ecstasy. So doing employs a threefold structure. A, we echo the Western symphonic format. We also follow rhythmic and harmonic developmental patterns of classical Persian music. And C, invite readers on a Sufi voyage. Sufi voyage. We begin with the existential state of the world and ourselves within it, our feelings of separation, abandonment, and our longing for fulfillment. Wine, literal and as initiation into transcendent experience. Love in all forms and phases, likewise with twofold significance, literal and ideal. Timeless, ancient, living wisdom, fruition. So these brief poems can thus be appreciated on their own and or in their cohering as one book-length poem. Lastly, back to the computer. Open sesame. Clap 3 times. And here it is. We also took as a point of departure the 1897 revolution by Stéphane Mallarmé with a book called A Throw of the Dice, in which he eradicates the idea of the line between the verso and the recto, so that this becomes a unit. And then in turning each page, you open a new unit, which may reflect the previous one. I think you can maybe see, like this one is like a wedge. And you might start here, you might start here. But if you stay on the page, with a kind of a gentle communing with the material, they speak to each other. And then the next page, here's another one, where on the left are 2 one-liners, and in between that is 2 poems about the poems to the wind, to the zephyr of dawn. So this changes the idea of a book as a reading instrument to a vehicle of as a spirituality, a spiritual instrument. And, the book, it has a great tradition in and of itself. So we're making Hafez new in these different ways. That's it for intro. For the reading I'll offer from the 5 sections. In the Garden of the World. Between these 2 doors, this caravan, everyone drives by while I walk on alone. Commemorate the ones who are gone and those who love. Be in harmony with the spring clouds. The city is in the dark as the eagle of oppression spreads its giant wings. I behold hundreds of thousands of flowers, yet no bird sings. Where have all the birds gone? What happened to the nightingales? Once, this was a city of friends in a land of kind people. What happened to love? And where are the compassionate leaders? Although danger may await back at the way station, and your destination is still a far way off, there is no road without an end. Do not despair. Have mercy on the warring